So who's going to win this thing tonight?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, it's not going to be me. If I had to put money on one of these players, I'd probably go with a guy named JC Tran, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if you can actually bet on this stuff. But speaking of betting, these guys have made it all the way to the final 9 out of 6,000 plus that started back in July, and these guys have actually had to wait since July to find out who is going to win it. Now they're waiting down to 48 hours because tomorrow night we will find out who's going to take home over $8 million, and some would say more importantly the title of the best player in the world. The interesting thing about this fight is how it's kind of a contrast in styles. I'm so excited for it. I know Dana is too. Mayweather avoids about 80% of big-time punches that opponents throw at him. Alvarez lands about 52% of his heavy punches. So it's one of those cases, Dana, where something is going to have to give, and I cannot wait for Saturday night. Hey Randy, Brad Keselowski about 27 hours ago had never won a race here in Las Vegas. Fast forward to today, and now he's a two-time winner in Las Vegas, winning the Nationwide Series race yesterday, winning the Sprint Cup race today, and so he got a second straight day of champagne showers in winner's circle. Well, they're not in action, but they'll probably have some adrenaline pumping, maybe be a little sweaty because college football bowl selection is on Sunday, and UNLV really doesn't know its fate. Let's talk about that Sunday selection first, though.
News 3's Trevor Thompson is live there with more. Trevor, I love the lid.
Oh, I thought you would, Tom. I certainly appreciate the compliment, and in true cowboy fashion, I'm wearing a tie and some makeup to go along with my cowboy hat. So I'm getting in the spirit of the rodeo here. Now, this is really a showcase for the top rodeo talent across the nation. You basically have to be one of the top 15 money earners in a variety of categories, from roping to riding to wrestling. And when we talk about wrestling, these are the guys that you're going to be wrestling with.
News 3's Trevor Thompson now joins us with more on this story today. And we know, at least I do, the sports books were packed yesterday because I went down there just to take in all the ambiance.
Well, I know a lot of people were worried at home. They're saying, how are the sports books going to do? Are they going to be okay? You know, they worry about those sport books. You know,
Trevor Thompson making a funny today, now isn't he?
Those small businesses, you got to see how they're going to do. They're going to make out okay. Now, the record profit for one Super Bowl is over $15 million for Nevada sports books. We'll have to wait until the Nevada Gaming Control Board releases its final figures to know if sports books set a new record this year. I talked to one bookie who said it's possible, but he can't say for sure right now. Now, the majority of people who did bet took the favorite Broncos. One thing that actually ended up hurting the books was this early safety. If you bet on a safety being the first score of the game, you could have gotten odds as high as 50 or 60 to 1. Now, books were also hurt a little bit by this interception return for a score by eventual Super Bowl MVP Malcolm Smith, who went to the University of Southern California. That's right. And he actually wasn't even listed as someone that you could pick as a possible MVP candidate. You had to pick any other player, and you got like 20 to 1 odds on that. Then on top of a safety and a pick six, we had this Percy Harvin to kick off the second half and make it 29-0. He took it back for a score. So the books were hurt a little by the fact that there was a safety, a defensive touchdown, and a special teams touchdown all in the same game. Overall, though, they're expected to be just fine after the Seahawks cruise 43-8. Now, a record $98.9 million was bet on last year's Super Bowl. It'll be interesting to see if that record is broken when the final tally is released later this week. One thing that game had that this one did not, though, is a team from California, the San Francisco 49ers.
Trevor, how did Chris look in the first of two games this weekend?
Well, he really didn't get in until late in the game, just played a few defensive innings, had a nice put out from third to first. Didn't get an at-bat. In fact, he was actually in the on-deck circle before the final out was made, and the Mets took this game. Let's go to the highlights. Mets and Cubs. You know, the 51s don't start their season until April 3rd, but luckily we had this game because it was too beautiful a day to not play baseball. Not a beautiful start, though, for Cubs fans. First inning, Mets jump out 3-0, thanks in part to a 2-run David Wright double. But the Cubbies, they would rally. 2 Anthony Rizzo home runs would help cut into the Mets lead. In fact, they would come all the way back and tie it 4-4 in the 8th inning. But Wilmer Flores, remember him, star of the 51s last year, he breaks that tie 2-run shot. Mets would add a few more insurance runs. They go on to win it 9-4. Angels and Dodgers in action today. Angels looking to win their 6th straight freeway series. They've owned the Dodgers the last few years. Dodgers hoping to avoid dropping their 2nd freeway series in as many weeks. Dodgers up 2-0 early in this one when Peter Borges gets a hold of that one. That's Borges' 2nd of the season, and a lot of 2s. We are knotted at 2. Tied at 3, bottom 7, 2 on for Mark Trumbo, and Trumbo delivers. The bloop single going to give the Halos the 4-3 lead. Here comes Pujols rounding third. He's going to score easily. It was 5-3 top 9, last chance for the Dodgers, but D. Gordon just blown away by Ernesto Frieri. Angels win 5-3. They continue their domination of the series. How about the Bay Bridge battle, Giants and A's? A thrilling finish to this one. A's down 2-1, bottom 9, 2 runners on. Derek Norris comes through, drops the bat like a boss. He knows it's gone. Norris, his first career home run, and it's a pretty good time to get it. 4-2 the final. Oakland beats San Francisco in walk-off fashion. First quarter, Phillip Rivers to Dante Rosario from 11 yards out, and just like that, it's 7-0 Bolts. Rivers and Rosario hooked up for 3 touchdowns on the afternoon. This was the 3rd one. Made it 24-3 San Diego, and they're just in cruise control. 4th quarter, finally someone not named Rosario getting into the end zone. It's Jackie Battle from a yard out. He would add another touchdown later. 38-10, Chargers get the win. Brad Keselowski had won a Sprint Cup Chase championship, but in his storied career, he had never won a race in Las Vegas, but that changed this weekend in a big way. 2 days, 2 wins, 2 champagne showers for the driver of the number 2 car. The winner's circle essentially becoming his 2nd home.
You get to see a lot of the same people again. You get new music, some old music, you get a little rhythm, routine, get a little few dance moves worked out. You know, that's part of the great thing about this Victory Lane. It's a huge race weekend for us in NASCAR, great fan turnout. You know, this Victory Lane here is very unique, a lot of fans here, and we're proud to be here for all of them.
And though this is Vegas, where luck often comes into play, Brad Keselowski says he's more than just lucky.
I don't know if that's luck. It's a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck. It's not all luck, but I'm proud of the effort. We're all lucky enough where I want to go play some blackjack, but I don't have enough money.
So maybe it wasn't luck, but the 2012 Sprint Cup champion says there may have been a bit of divine intervention.
It's just like the gates of heaven have opened up, and you just take it, run with it, and be happy about it.
Keselowski fittingly drives a Ford, and that Ford delivered. The same day that Henry Ford's last grandchild, William Clay Ford Sr., passed away.
A win today doesn't bring a life back, but if in any way he sees the pain, we're proud to be a part of that for everyone at Ford.
And fittingly, Keselowski tracked down the man who gave him an early break in his career, Dale Earnhardt Jr., on the final lap to take today's Sprint Cup race and complete the weekend sweep. Now, we know you want to win, but you're chasing down a guy who's been, pretty, influential in your career as a driver. What's it like chasing down Dale?
Fun, We got some great stories to tell now. I guess he finished 2nd. Well, since he finished 2nd, I didn't pass him in the points, did I? Damn it.
He's actually just 1 point behind, with plenty of race action ahead and plenty of bad memories from Vegas behind him. You've had some pretty bad luck here before. Does this sort of make up for that and more?
Yeah, when it makes up for a lot.
Now, we know Keselowski has won his fair share of Sprint Cup races and Nationwide Series races, but this is actually the first time in his career he's won both in the same weekend.
The Cubs pass on pitching and instead go with the best raw power in this draft class.
Meet last year's number 2 overall pick, Chris Bryant.
University of San Diego, 3rd base.
That is, if you haven't met him already. He is, after all, a local kid who went to Bonanza High. The Cubs' 3rd base prospect spent the past 2 days back at home, playing a pair of games against the Mets at Cashman Field, the same field he used to attend games before he was a 6-foot 5-inch slugger.
It's pretty weird. It's like all coming full circle because I remember coming to these games and watching these guys on the field and just being in shock and how good they were, and they just seemed larger than life. And I kind of see that now with how the little kids interact with me and my teammates, and it's a special feeling.
Though the weekend may not have gone as he would have liked, he was 0 for 3, many are touting Chris as a potential savior for the Cubbies. But is that too much pressure to put on a 22-year-old kid? He says no way.
I don't really feel any pressure. I mean, I kind of put a little bit of pressure on myself in college and trying to, please everybody. But, when it all comes down to it, the only expectations that matter are mine of myself. And, I can tell you right now, my expectations are higher than anybody else's of me. So, I go out there every day and, with a chip on my shoulder and confident in myself and, playing as hard as I can.
Chris will start his season in the minors, not the big leagues. Even so, scouts and league executives say he could one day be an all-star with 50 home run potential. But when we first met him almost 5 years ago, he was just a 17-year-old ball player from Bonanza High, worrying less about the Cubs' lineup cards and more about his report cards.
I get $20 for every home run I hit, and then every straight A report card I get $100. Yeah. And I usually get more mad when I get a B on a report card, but because school is really important to me.
Although $20 here and $100 there is nothing compared to the $6.7 million signing bonus the Cubs gave him last year. Despite the money and all the praise, he says he's still in shock when people compare him to other Las Vegas greats like Greg Maddux and Bryce Harper.
I mean, it's great to follow those guys. I mean, to even be mentioned in the same sentence as them is an honor. And, I think it says a lot about Las Vegas. We produce some pretty good baseball talent, and we're just blessed that we get to play all year long, and, we don't really have to deal with the weather. So, it was great growing up in Las Vegas and, getting the chance to play baseball every single day.
For Sports Night, I'm Trevor Thompson.